Mist drifts low across the Cumbrian hills. The morning is still, save for the call of a curlew and the crunch of boots on an old stone path. This is no ordinary walk. It is a pilgrimage into poetry itself, the Wordsworth Way. Stretching 46 miles across the Lake District, this trail follows the landscapes that shaped William Wordsworth's life and verse. Here, every turn in the path seems touched by poetry, every valley alive with memory. To walk this way is to step into words that have echoed for over 2 centuries. The journey begins in Penrith, a market town on the edge of the Lake District. From here, the trail weaves south through Amont Bridge and into the landscapes where Wordsworth's imagination was first kindled. It carries the walker through Grasmere and Rydal villages at the very heart of his life, before turning west towards Keswick and the silver waters of Derwentwater. Finally, it leads to Cockermouth, the town where Wordsworth was born in 1770, in a Georgian house that still stands on the edge of Main Street. To walk the way is to trace both a geography and a biography. You pass the schoolrooms where Wordsworth learned his first verses, the houses where he lived, the landscapes that stirred his revolutionary sense of nature. It is both journey and story, a thread that ties places and poems together. The first miles from Penrith are gentle, passing old bridges and quiet villages. Here the land opens in meadows, hedgerows heavy with summer blossom. Wordsworth himself wrote of these beginnings. "The earth is all before me with a heart, joyous, nor scared at its own liberty." Soon, the path reaches Ullswater, one of the Lake District's most enchanting lakes. It was here that Wordsworth saw the daffodils that would become his most famous poem. In spring, the banks still bloom with golden heads nodding in the breeze, echoing his lines. Boats cut across the still waters, their wakes scattering sunlight like glass. From Ullswater, the trail climbs towards Grasmere, the jewel of the journey. This is where Wordsworth made his home at Dove Cottage, a modest house with whitewashed walls and a slate roof, where he lived with his sister Dorothy. Inside, time seems to linger in the low beams, the worn flagstones, the tiny desk by a window. Step outside, and the garden blooms with the wildness that inspired his writing. Grasmere village itself is gentle and timeless, with stone shops, cozy tea rooms, and the aroma of its famous gingerbread drifting through the square. For many, this is the heart of the Wordsworth Way. Here he wrote lines that captured the Lake District in a way no one had before, lines that gave voice to the very spirit of these hills and waters. Just beyond Grasmere lies Rydal, where Wordsworth moved later in life to Rydal Mount. From its gardens you can gaze over the lake and fells, much as he did in his later years. The sense of continuity is striking. You see not just landscape, but the world through Wordsworth's eyes. The trail then turns north, climbing into higher ground where the views stretch wide. Towards Keswick, Derwentwater spreads like a silver mirror, ringed with wooded slopes and rising fells. Here, the poetry of nature becomes something vast and sublime. Clouds sweep across the ridges, light flickers across water, and the mountains seem almost to breathe. Finally, the path descends into Cockermouth. Wordsworth's birthplace is a Georgian townhouse where his early life began, a reminder that great journeys often start in small, unassuming places. To end the walk here is to circle back to the beginning, closing the thread of a life woven with landscape. For those who wish to walk the Wordsworth Way, the route is around 74 kilometers in total. Most walkers take between 4 and 6 days, with daily stages ranging from 8 to 15 miles. The terrain is varied. The early miles from Penrith are gentle, mostly across farmland and country lanes. Around Ullswater, you'll find steeper sections with rocky paths, and nearer to Keswick, the trail climbs into higher ground with views worth every step. Waterproof boots are essential, and in wetter months, expect mud along the valley bottoms. The best time to walk is late spring through early autumn. April and May bring blossom and the famous daffodils, while June and July see the hills covered in wildflowers. Autumn, with its golden leaves, brings its own kind of poetry. Winter is possible, but only for those experienced in mountain walking, as the fells can be snow-dusted and the daylight hours short. Accommodation is plentiful, with guest houses, inns, and hostels scattered along the way. Grasmere is especially popular for overnight stays, while Keswick offers a lively base with shops and cafes. For those with less time, the walk can be broken into shorter segments. Ullswater to Grasmere makes a fine 2-day trek, full of scenery and literary heritage. Others choose to base themselves in Grasmere or Keswick and explore sections of the trail as day walks. No matter how much or how little you walk, the Wordsworth Way is less about completing miles than about entering into rhythm with the land. It is about slowing your step, noticing the light across the fells, the sound of wind in the trees, the sense of walking within something larger than yourself. At the end of the Wordsworth Way, one feels not only that a journey has been walked, but that a conversation has been held with history, with landscape, with poetry itself. This is a trail that does not hurry you. It invites you to pause by streams, to linger by lakes, to look up at skies that shift like verses. It teaches, as Wordsworth wrote, that nature itself is a form of wisdom. In the Lake District, poetry and place are bound together. To walk here is to hear those words again, not in books or classrooms, but in the very air, in the very stones beneath your feet. The Wordsworth Way is not just a route across Cumbria. It is a reminder that beauty lies all around us, waiting to be seen, waiting to be spoken.